Hey, Valley Youth, Pastor Mike here. I know I took a week off last week since we were moving, and I'm back. I'm in my office now. You can see I'm in the library, um, which is the corner of my office with the bookshelves. I wanted to share a little bit about perseverance with you today. So I would define perseverance as not giving up, moving forward despite pressure or resistance. My favorite Bible verse when I was in high school was Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. I went to a youth conference and they encouraged us to memorize Hebrews 12, 1 and 2, and I did. And I still have it memorized 20 some years later. So here goes. I actually have it written down so I don't fumble over it too much. Trying to recite it from memory. Anyway, here we go. Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy set before him, endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand at the throne of God. So as a high school and middle school student, I was in cross country and track. I really enjoyed running. And I really enjoyed running long distances, but I couldn't stand the idea when it came to track season of running 4, maybe even 8 laps around a track. So I ran in the shorter races, the sprints, like the 100-meter dash, which usually took about 14 seconds tops. During those races, I really didn't need to persevere. But in cross country in high school, we ran a 5K, which is a little over 3 miles. The courses that we ran in cross country varied from golf courses to beautiful regional parks. These races, they took endurance, they took perseverance. One of the courses, I remember there was a huge hill. During that race, I had to pace myself knowing that there was going to be this ginormous hill that I was going to have to conquer. On other courses that we ran on, there were rolling hills through woods with tree roots that we had to watch out for. Hebrews 12 follows another well known passage about those in the Bible who lived great lives of faith. In my Bible, the heading is By Faith. The writer of the book of Hebrews starts with Abel. It says, Abel was commended by God for giving his best as a sacrifice to him. He then goes on to mention Noah, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Rahab the prostitute, and just talks about how they had lived by faith. You can go back to the Old Testament and read all of those stories. And then at the end of chapter 11, he says that he doesn't have time to mention others like David, Solomon, Gideon, Samson, all of whom, through faith, suffered, were victorious. Some had their weaknesses turned into strength. Some experienced lives being raised from the dead. Some wandered in the desert. Some lived in caves. So that huge chapter in Hebrews chapter 11 is great. You should go read it. And then in chapter 12, he talks about, in verse 1, how we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, referencing everybody that he talked about in chapter 11. So we have the accounts of their lives that we can learn from. Looking elsewhere in God's Word, in James 1, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. In Romans 5, 3 and 4, it says, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. And perseverance, character, and character, hope. During this time of suffering, during this time of our normal lives, normal way of life being challenged, being turned on its head, during this time of having to change our habits, finding different ways to connect to others, be assured that God knows what's going on. It says in Hebrews 12 that we are to run with perseverance. That means that there is resistance, there is pressure, but we need to keep on moving forward. So run with perseverance, the race marked out for us. God has placed that path before us. He has marked out the way for us to go, the way that God has for us. It might not be easy. It might have those big hills. It might have some roots that we have to watch out for, but God is with us. During this time of quarantine, of staying at home, I want to challenge you to study the stories of that the writer of Hebrews calls the great cloud of witnesses. Try to be in the Word every day. There are some great reading plans out there for the Bible, including one of our from our very own Pastor Dave called "Useful Breath." Um, and if you just Google, there's a lot of Bible reading plans out there. I encourage you to look for those, to start using them, to try to get in the Word every day. I put up some links on the Valley Youth for Now website, so you can check those out. Um, find a reading plan that works for you. I'm looking forward to connecting with you all tonight at 7 o'clock on Zoom for Becky Watzak leading us in discovering God in the Bible. It should be great. We're going to be going through another psalm again tonight, and then on Thursday night, we're going to be connecting on Zoom again for our Together time. Last week, we had a great time hearing from Bethany Shoquist. And this Thursday, we're going to be trying out some new games, connecting and praying together in our small groups. Anyway, I hope to see you all tonight and on Thursday, 7:30, 7 o'clock tonight, 7:30 on Thursday. Take care.